Let's continue on the talent pool theme, because well documented. There's lots of skill shortages in the UK IT channel. There's not enough people, and there's more jobs. Those people, it's great for those people in it because they can either get more pay, they can get higher jobs, and they've got the choice of everything. With the hybrid working now, is there a bit of reluctance from the employers to maybe enforce people coming back to the office, because there's a reluctance to say, actually, if this person doesn't want to come back, or they can go and get a job somewhere else and I can't replace them. So I'm interested in your views on sort of hybrid working, because I said to you at lunch, I'm noticing a lot of people now, post-COVID, I think we can say we're post-COVID now, we're at least coming out of it now, with people returning back to some sort of normality. But I'm seeing a lot of people now actually putting the demands on the company. They're actually thinking, they know they're in pole position. They know they could probably go and get another job. They know they could probably demand more salary because they know there's candidate shortages. So what's your view on this? How delicate a subject is hybrid working for Tech Data, and how are you managing? Because you've got a big workforce.
Yeah, I think you're the bit you're spot on about, I think, is that we are in a particular period of time, and it is a candidates market. And I think that's kind of making maybe employers look maybe as defensively as strategically about these kind of things, and that's fine and that's right. Good for the candidates. I would say employers often have it their own way too. Our attitude is that we're an office first company, in the sense that everyone will have an office contract. We're not looking to have people working wherever they want in the country. And by the way, if we did go to remote working, doesn't mean we would necessarily hire in the south of England. Maybe we wouldn't be hiring in the UK at all. So companies have got to think about that. Why would you hire in the M3, M4 corridor and allow everyone to work from home? It wouldn't make any sense. Most expensive part of the country. So we're currently at 2 days a week. We're asking everybody to come in 2 days a week. We have pretty good adherence to that. I think that you get 20 people together and they've got 20 different opinions as to whether that's a good thing or not. I mean, genuinely very diverse. A lot of people feel very strongly about wanting to be with colleagues, and a lot of people feel really strongly about is it because you don't trust me? And it's never been about trust for me. It's about business success, and I think a lot of people's belief is, and it's mine too, is that comes down to teaming, collaboration, how you develop people and their relationships within the business. And you can't replicate that virtually.
No.
You can do some of it virtually, some of the time, but actually a lot of it has to be physical. And Patrick Zammit, our CEO, one of the things he says, which I really buy into, is when we sent everyone working from home, great teamwork, but those teams were built in the office.
Absolutely.
Pre-pandemic. So now this is a big experiment. Can we continue and drive the same level of business success if you believe all those things that I just mentioned are important, when people are often will go weeks without seeing each other, because even if they're coming in 2 days a week, doesn't mean it's the same 2 days. It's a big experiment. There was some really interesting data published by Microsoft that I read a couple of days ago, and it shows the tension in the model. It was either 50 or 52%. One was 50 and one was 52% on these percentages. One of them was 50% of leaders, whatever it was, wanting their teams back in the office 5 days a week, and 50 or 52% of employees wanting hybrid working or remote working. Yeah. Now, they're not quite different sides of the coin, but there's certainly tension in that model. And I think time will tell. And personally, I've said this to a few people just to be a bit controversial, really, but if you believe we don't need offices, you're a flat earther, as far as I'm concerned. It's that wacky to me, that the idea that humans don't need to interact and you're not better off for it personally, and the business isn't better off. I'm just on such a different page to that. However, I do believe there is a good deal to be struck between employers and employees, depending on what the company does and what people's functions are, that allows for hybrid work. And I do think it's the future.
You really do think it'll be?
I do think it's the future, and we're preparing for that. We've due to lease events, we've got a couple of office changes coming up, and we are building really nice hybrid offices based around the need to collaborate and spaces that people want to come in and work for them. So yeah, I do believe in it. The question is to what extent. That's the bit I'm not sure about, and I think it's not a time. Personally, I don't think it's a time for bold statements to say remote working just works or 5 days in office is the only way. For me, it is let's work our way through ourselves and see what else the world works out. Because you kind of drive. I have one quick point. You know, if you talk about people working remotely earlier, you fast track 5 years. You know, are people talking about isolation, digital burnout? You know, it just might raise some other issues. It's too early to say.
How are you managing it? You know, you mentioned there, say that your current model is 3 days in the office, 2 days out.
No, the other way around.
Sorry, 2 days out, 3 days in the office.
No, wasn't that the same thing?
Was it? Sorry.
No, anyway,
what is it, David?
It's 2 days in the office.
2 days in the office, 3 days out. Actually, 3 days at home, which is quite a lot. Actually, I don't think most distributors aren't quite doing that. Actually, which is great. How are you monitoring that? Because can I just come in when I want? Can I just let you know on the day, or because that quite challenging that as well.
Yeah. So actually, that was probably that's a good follow up because I didn't quite answer your question from earlier. So the reality is, we aren't enforcing it hard. Because we realise this is new to everybody. We are leaning on our managers really hard to manage it themselves, and
which is tough.
And we're trying to arm them as best as we can, including the data. Right. So people have a pretty good idea if their teams are in or not. I mean, if they're managing them, they should know that anyway. And then we're encouraging those managers, or we're really asking our managers pretty firmly, if you have team members who are not, then it needs to be addressed to them. Don't ignore it. Have a conversation with them. Because my concern is that it could all start to unravel. You got a team of 10, 2 of them regularly turn up 0 or 1 day a week, and then someone has a bad day and says, well, I don't even know why I'm coming in anyway, because you're not managing those people. It needs to be addressed somehow.
Yeah.
I think we're just very conscious that it's new and trying to bring some energy to it and some enthusiasm, get the workspace right. But it's kind of a soft energy.
Do you think, again, just your opinion, do you think you'd be bolder if there wasn't so much candidate shortages? I feel there's a nervousness with the companies to sort of think, actually, not let the candidate decide what they want, but because they feel that they can't replace them, they are a bit more on the defensive. They're actually thinking, do you know what, we'll see how this pans out, because if we lose them, we've got a bigger problem.
Yeah, I think that's probably in the back of my mind at this point, which is why I talk about it as a specific challenge for a time, and I think that time is that shortage is definitely there. I've heard partners of ours articulate it in exactly that way. We're not pressing that button too hard at the moment because, and that's a shame. But it's a reality. But it's a shame because actually, the opportunity is to get it right, and as a world, it's not a tech data issue or a channel issue. As a world, we have to work out what really works. I think there is good enough data that I saw pre-pandemic to say that you can get hybrid working well, and it's a good deal for the employee and the employer. I am sold on that. For me, it's the question of how.